States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor to Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Posting in accordance with Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code, as amended, known as the Texas Open Meeting Act. Is that correct? Yes. Thank you. All right. At this time, we will have members of the public who wish to speak, and each person shall have 3 minutes to address the court. Mr. Morgan.
Charles Morgan, citizen of and I gave all you a handout here. The letter that I sent to the governor back in 2021, and nothing happened. We need to get this rescinding of the opinion by Attorney General. Attorney General being fired, sent out, so it's an opportune time for us to get this law that he said to rescind it. He says oil and gas can put out all the noise they want to. No, they cannot. The House Bill 1880 does not say that. It says they will protect our people in that law. So we need to go through our state attorney general, not state attorney general, our state representative, or and get her back to rescind this opinion from the Attorney General. Because what he said is the oil and gas and put out all the noise they want to. And that's just crazy. So we need to get somebody's attention to rescind this opinion that he has out there now. We've had people harmed here in Freestone County. I estimate 2,614,000 people that are going to be harmed in 27 counties that have more than 1,000 gas wells. It's based on a lot of research from all around the world that I've got. And so it's a really horrible thing to think about that many people. That many people will be harmed in Texas in just 27 counties. And I've written a letter to the county judges in each of those counties. So we need to get the support of those folks. We need to get the support of our state representative, and his opinion KP 0371. It's in the letter I gave to you. That's the opinion he sent out that needs to be rescinded. It didn't make any sense. He says, "Oh, and yes, and put out all the noise they want to." That's just crazy. So anyway, I would request that you and the commissioners work with the state representative to get this thing rescinded. It's just too important not to do something about it.
Anyone else? All right. If not, then if it is agreeable with everyone, let's take up item number 9, since Mr. Mike Dixon is here this morning, and we will go into our regular meeting to discuss and consider action on these items. Number 9 is the public hearing on the matter of the proposed designation of certain property in unincorporated areas of Freestone County as a reinvestment zone under Chapter C, Subchapter C, Chapter 312 of the Texas Property Tax Code.
We're actually going to have 3 reinvestment zones considered today. And Judge, if you want to open the public hearing, I will stand up and get it started, and then you can ask whether anybody for or against wants to come up.
May I proceed?
Okay.
opening this at what time?
9:09.
9:09, we open the public meeting, public hearing.
This is the order establishing reinvestment zone number 1, which is the Tawakona Creek Solar LLC area. Essentially, creating a reinvestment zone is a requirement of the tax code to be able to enter into tax abatement agreements. Only projects within a reinvestment zone can qualify for tax abatement agreements. So what we're asking today on this is that the court approve the order creating reinvestment zone number 1. You can see that it's on the map. It's roughly 5,757 acres, and it's within the Wortham Independent School District. So this time, ask for and against, I guess, is the best.
Do we have any public discussion from anyone? Do we want to wait until we close the public hearing and then make these motions?
Yes.
All right. Any discussion at all on creating the investment zone for, I guess that's number 001, reinvestment zone 001. All right, then we'll move to the next.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and vote on.
You want to vote on this? All right. Do we have a motion to approve the order designating, creating, and establishing county reinvestment zone number 001?
Class.
We have a motion.
10 class precinct.
Slide.
I'll make the motion. I second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion carried.
As an additional thing, I'm just showing you a notice that will be sent out, and I'm bringing this up because it'll become apparent in a minute why. We have to, under the law, we have to send out, we have to post a 30-day notice before we can enter into the tax abatement agreement. Okay. Right now, I've got a format of a tax abatement agreement that is not final, but it's a proposed. So that's what we're going to send to the surrounding entities as required by law, but it's definitely not the final because there's still some negotiation to be done. But this essentially just gives a public notice of when the court is going to hear the, when the court is going to consider the tax abatement. And it's set for October 18th.
Now, we post this on our vote.
On our bulletin board.
All right, Beth, you'll come and get this? I'm gonna
Well,
hand
I've
it-
got signature copies for already.
Oh, okay.
All these people's names that are on here, are they all part of this? Are they all part of this solar project?
I'm assuming that if their name's on there, they are.
They've signed an option.
They've signed an option or at least one.
This what now?
They've signed an option to lease or at least one or the other.
Y'all talk to all these people? They've all been contacted?
Well, remember, I'm not a solar company attorney, I'm your attorney. This would be Garrett Peters.
My name is Garrett Peters, I'm the tax consultant for Tawakona Creek, and I've got Tom McElwain, he represents the developers. So everyone within the area of interest has been contacted, yes, sir.
Now, this proposed tax abatement agreement has a pilot payment in it of $435,000 a year for 10 years, okay? We have not discussed, well, we've discussed generally, but have not come to an agreement on yet, front-end loading. But I wanted you to see, you know, the actual pilot payment. And we'll send this out to taxing entities, but it's just a proposed version right now. The final version will be after all negotiations done. But we mainly wanted you to see the pilot, which is $435,000 for years 1 through 10. That pilot can never go down. In fact, if the megawatts increase, the pilot will go up. So, something to keep in mind. Also, I need to make some changes on the road use agreement before the final. It's a never-ending document that you keep improving on every time. But, so, I really don't need approval on these two things. I just wanted you to know what was going on. This judge can send out the notice, and will send out a proposed agreement to the other taxing entities. Is there any discussion on the tax abatement agreement?
Did we agree on this 30%? Is that what?
Yeah,
Yes,
Okay.
at a tax rate of
32 cents.
3219.
Yeah, our new rate.
Yep.
After we have time to really look at this, we may have a few questions that we can get this tax abatement agreement.
Yeah.
But I think those are the main items of discussion that we had had with you before.
Let me go on to, there's no further questions on that one.
On page 4 here where you got the abatement schedule, should we not have that tax rate identified in this? Or identified in 30% abatement?
No, because it's already taken, calculations done separately. But, I mean, we could put that in. We could put it at 32% tax rate, but it's not really important to, it's important to the calculation, but the calculation is done on
Already done,
page.
it's,
Now,
One
this
thing
is,
we're still discussing is whether we'll get that up front.
Right, right. And whether any of the payments would be front.
and our tax rate would be 3219, not 32, correct? Yeah, that, we did that before we approved.
Yes. There's no discussion on that first one, and we're ready to move to the second reinvestment.
Second would be sorry, we have so much stuff. Okay. Is Core Solar Holdings, well, it's actually, Core Solar Land Holdings 1 LLC. It's the same thing. We, in order of creating a reinvestment zone, in this case, it's reinvestment zone 002. And essentially, again, we can't enter into, do any tax abatement without reinvestment zone. Reinvestment zone has certain findings that are contained in the order. I'd ask you to look at before you approve. That's if you want to open the public hearing.
Sorry.
If you want to open the public hearing, I'll talk about it. And
You want me to close this first one?
yeah, I thought you'd already closed the first one.
No.
Go ahead and close the first one.
All right, what time is it?
9:21.
At 9:21, we are closing the public hearing on reinvestment zone number 001. So now we will open the public hearing for reinvestment zone 1002.
This is for property, I think it's 2,254 acres intended for production. Its taxable value is estimated, or capital improvement value is estimated $416,500,000. So getting close to $500 million mark. This is the notice that is going to be sent out that will notify, or not sent out, but posted on the bulletin board, that will notify the public of when the actual final tax abatement agreement will be considered, as is required by the law.
Mike, if you're short, you give me 2 of these.
As required by the law.
We are in the public hearing on the reinvestment zone 1002. Is there any comment from the public?
I will hand out the proposed tax abatement agreement, which is, let's look at what the proposed pilot and proposed agreements. Is $422,000 per year, 10 years. 422,000. And I'm sorry to give you all this stuff. I just feel compelled to make it for some reason. I need to.
This is the process we need to go through. Yeah. Okay.
And I'm afraid you got it.
I got 2.
No, this is different, but this is for core holdings. This is for reinvestment zone number 2. Since there's no public comment, we want to close the public hearing, please.
Yes.
John?
What time is it?
9:24.
At 9:24, we will, now, do we need to approve the order?
Yeah, but
In that,
we do it after the
All
public.
right, at 9:24, we are closing the public hearing. Now, do we have a motion to approve the order designating, creating, and establishing county reinvestment zone number 1002?
I'll make that motion.
Next.
All in favor, aye. Any opposed? None, motion carries.
That's said I've worked in school district too, with
I like the worth of money, and y'all have.
Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
like it a little
I didn't
more.
see it there.
You know,
I believe the word is a T, yeah.
Yeah, it's a
team.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm just asking, I knew it was close.
Or tag, what? No, but what the old timers used to call it.
T.
Okay, third one is varsity circle. And we have the creating the reinvestment zone, which is the reinvestment zone number 3.
We need to go back into.
Yes, we did, open the public hearing
At 9:26.
at 9:26 for reinvestment zone number 0.003.
Again, this is a process, the approval of the reinvestment zone. It's a process that's necessary for doing tax abatement, and is essentially required by the tax code. Well, not essentially, it is required by the tax code. Your Honor, if you could ask if there's anybody for or against it.
Is any discussion?
Go back into it here.
We got one in.
We need to, are we in public hearing? now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you ask if there's anybody for or against?
I got two of these.
Yes. Is there anybody for or against or any discussion? If none, then we will close the public hearing at
9:27.
9:27.
Okay, like the other ones, I'm showing you the 30-day notice that we'll post. That will give the residents the meeting in which the final tax abatement agreement will be considered. And since this is handed out, or what I'm getting ready to hand out is only a proposed tax abatement agreement.
So now, are we ready to approve the order?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I'm getting ready to give you the, this is a little bit smaller, project. It is,
2,698.
the pilot payments are $233,359. The megawatts, what are the megawatts on this?
200.
200 megawatts. So, again, the pilot payment is $233,359 for 10 years. And this is the proposed tax abatement agreement we're going to send out to the taxing entities. Sorry about all this.
Now, the amount that you have given us, is that just the amount that comes to the county? Is that
Yes,
correct?
yes, that's right. That's the amount that comes to the county. The school districts will benefit even more. They will, the school district should see a substantial tax benefit from these projects.
All of this was in Oakwood?
This one's in Oakwood, yes, sir.
All of it? Yeah, okay.
How many acres is this one?
2,000.
How many?
2,600.
2,619.
Probably won't use all of it, but you know, as they're doing clearing studies and engineering studies, they'll be using some subset of that 2,600.
How many megawatt was the street one?
Walking.
Or walking?
Walking in, it's about 500 within Freestone County. That's the project, if you recall, that a portion of it will be in Navarro County. Yes, sir.
And then the one over at Tig, what was it?
So 300 megawatts of solar and 100 megawatts potentially of battery.
Judge, after hearing, or did we ask on 3? Have we asked for?
Not yet. We
Okay.
need a motion.
Well, did we ask for comments on 3?
I think we did.
We did.
Okay,
Mhm.
so you can close the
There were none.
public hearing and then take action on
All right, have we
Order.
closed?
Yes, we closed at 9:27.
9:27.
Okay.
We're ready for the order.
Right.
Do we have a motion to approve the order designating, creating, and establishing a county reinvestment zone number .003?
Make that motion.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carried.
Thank you all. That's all we've got. The rest is on the judge. We're set.
All right, now, what do we need to get signed and just the notices, those 3 notices?
The
put on board?
notices and the orders, and I've got,
Notices? I think
the
that's-
notice, the orders are important and the notices.
And
And
put those all on the, out on the board. Is that all we do?
the notice is all you have to put on the bulletin board. The order, I'll have instructions. I'll give
Okay,
you.
great. I knew you would. Thank you so much. Okay, on the board is the notices. Yes, sir.
I just wanted to, and maybe I heard wrong, I don't think I ever heard a motion or action on RZ number 2.
We didn't do it?
We did.
We did.
Yeah, we did.
Will and
You
Ian.
made-
Yeah, so one, two,
I
made
made
a
a
motion,
motion.
and you seconded
and
Yeah, I made the
Ian
So
seconded.
we have a
apologize.
motion on all 3, is
All
that right?
3.
Yeah.
We have a
Yes.
motion on all 3.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
We could have missed it. It was kind of confusing.
Guaranteed.
Anything else, Mike?
No,
We
ma'am.
need to talk about it.
We will get the other stuff out, and then October 18th would be when we consider the final agreement. And in between now and then, I may be calling some of you. Did y'all get my card?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I know it's kind of small. I may be calling some of you to ask some questions and get your temperature on some stuff.
Okay, all right. And we're still talking about the upfront payment. Is that what we're negotiating?
We're still talking about it. I don't know if it's, I'll leave it to these guys to decide what they are willing to do. But, you know, that's why I may be calling y'all.
Y'all got my number, so.
Yes, we've got your.
Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Look forward to it. Surely
See y'all
do.
later.
We have one other presentation for our audit. Do we want to do that now, and then we'll go back to our regular?
I think we should. Yeah.
This is our fiscal year 2022 audit presentation by Kyle Conley.
Good morning. I'm going to briefly go over some of the highlights from this year's audit. And those highlights, they'll be on the sheet that I gave you on top of the report itself. The opinion in the report is unmodified, and that is the opinion that you're looking to receive. The opinion states that in the financial statements in this report present fairly in all material respects the financial position and changes in financial position of the county for the year ended September 30th, 2022. Net position is a component of the government-wide statements, and government-wide statements take in the full accrual method of accounting presentation. The statements take into consideration capital assets, long-term debt, while the fund financial statements do not. So at the end of the year, the net position was about $14.3 million, which was an increase of not quite $1.2 million. The assets, cash and investments total about $16.8 million of the $26 million in assets, and capital assets are another $5.4 million, and that's net capital assets, net of depreciation. The current year ended with a net pension asset of about $1.1 million as well. On the liability side, unearned revenue related to the ARPA funds account for about $3.8 million, which is the cash just kind of sitting there waiting to be spent. And that's 3.8 of the $7.1 million of liabilities. And then OPEB liabilities are another $2.4 million. During the year, the county added capital assets of about $616,000. These are large machinery was the biggest factor, vehicles and smaller equipment as well. And during the year, the county disposed of assets of $218,000, which was a motor grader and a tractor. During the year, the county made $48,000 on their debt payments, which were leases on some of those motor graders, and also entered into a new lease for equipment at the tax assessor office for $26,000. The fund financial statements are presented on a modified accrual basis or the current financial resources and measurement. And this is the method that the county uses to prepare the budget and plan for your operations. At the end of the year, the general fund ending fund balance was almost $10.8 million and was almost flat from the prior year with an increase of about $6,000. The general fund revenues were more than budgeted revenues by a little over $92,000, primarily due to reimbursements for elections and indigent events. The actual expenditures were less than final budgeted expenditures by about $1.8 million, primarily due to lower salaries and benefits, litigation expenditures not incurred, and then lower capital expenditures than were planned. The general fund is in good position with the fund balance. A good benchmark, is anywhere from 16 to 25%, which is 2 to 3 months worth of expenditures. And the county is at almost 100% of the next year's budgeted expenditures. So the fund balance is in good shape. The road and bridge funds finished the year with fund balances of $381,000, $226,000, $297,000, and $236,000 for precincts 1, 2, 3, and 4, respectively. These are increases in precincts 1 and 3 of $142,000 and $143,000, and a decrease of $204,000 for precinct 2, and a decrease of only $1,000 for precinct 4. Revenues were lower than budgeted for all precincts, primarily due to grant revenue that was not earned. The grant expenditures were not spent, so the grant revenues were not earned. And then also charges for services were a little bit lower for each precinct. The expenditures were lower than budget for all precincts, primarily due to not spending the fund balance carryover from the prior year. The road and bridge funds also ended with healthy fund balances, with 29%, 18%, 24%, and 20% respectively for precincts 1, 2, 3, and 4 of the next year's budgeted expenditures.
Thank you for doing that sheet just a week. That makes it a lot easier to look at.
Does anybody have any questions?
So did you say we were $1 million under budget for the last year that wasn't spent?
About 1.8, which a lot of that, I believe, was for the capital murder trial litigation. And that was,
Yes, but a lot of that was budgeted out of fund balance also. So it wasn't revenues, actual revenues that were not spent.
correct, yeah, I mean, you budgeted to decrease fund balance by $2 million. But, you know, the fund balance ended up pretty much flat for the
Yes,
year,
yes.
so.
You know, we budgeted for building the building and then for the capital expenditures. And so that's the main part of it that did not get spent. So it stayed in fund balance. Any discussion from anyone at this point? All right. Well, we appreciate your work for us,
You're welcome.
and I think we've had good cooperation, and that always makes it a lot easier.
Karen's very helpful. She does a good job.
Yes.
So, try to teach her new things every year.
There you go. We'd like her to just stay the same for a while, but they just keep adding new things that we have to do.
They never stop.
No,
Always new regulations.
and I wonder if much of that is necessary. That's my opinion. We won't go into that. Your legislature at work.
Yeah, if she's bugging you, it's probably because I'm telling her there's something new that, you know, she's trying to get information for new leases and new software contracts and all new GASB regulations.
Yes, I know. But the regulations I question sometimes, you know, if that really is a benefit. All right, any other discussion? If not, we need to accept this, motion to accept the audit report.
I'll make it.
Second.